on TMZ.
Hey everyone, Wobert here from TMZ. Today we're going to talk about the most anticipated upcoming movie that will be a real return for Will Smith as a serious actor. I Am Legend 2 has been anticipated for years now, and a plot synopsis has just been leaked by iMDB. Let's get into it. The first thing the viewer will notice in this film is the color grading. The film looks gloomy and depressing for the majority of the runtime. The movie will then open with Will Smith sleeping and a voice coming over a radio informing him about a new viral infection of vampires in a different part of the United States, and also that he has to get there in order to stop it. During the opening of the film, there's a montage of Will Smith's character traveling by plane with a voiceover by him that says, "Journal entry, 1400, October 19th, 2026. This is the story all about how the world that we knew died and got turned upside down, and how we saved it from extinction." If you're reading this, take a moment and sit right there. Let me tell you all how we saved the world thanks to a college girl from Santa Monica, Bel-Air. The new location for the movie would seem to be set in two different locations, as the urban area of West Philadelphia seems to be the first stop for Will Smith. We then see Will Smith's character will have to make an arduous trek from New York City to Philadelphia, as a new viral outbreak of the exact same vampire disease has started there. After a series of action scenes, Will Smith determines the city is too far gone for him to do anything, so he heads to another state, which we find out from another military radio conversation has just experienced the very early stages of said infection. We will see him get back into his military plane using a plot-important military airplane ticket for entry. The area that is most recently infected is Santa Monica, California. Once the plane lands, Will Smith is informed that the early stages of the infection have started within the community of Bel-Air. Along the way, he will meet a young woman named Jade, who was born and raised in West Philadelphia. She will tell the tale of how the outbreak started in West Philly, claiming that on a playground where the kids of Western Philadelphia spent most of their time and days relaxing took a turn for the worst. The flashback begins brutally, as we actually see children being attacked and turning into monsters, and attacking other children. Rumors abound that the flashback scene will involve an infected man attacking a group of teenagers playing basketball outside of a schoolyard, and the virus spreading from there to the densely populated middle school. A couple of local gangsters who are in the middle of a drug deal and up to no good would start fighting back. This is where Jade will claim to have taken refuge with the gangbangers, allowing her to survive. Unfortunately, even with all of Philadelphia falling around them, her mother will disapprove of the fact that her new friends caused trouble in the neighborhood, and she will be disappointed that Jade got into one little fight with the infected. Although, Jade's mother at the time thinks the infected were simply unhoused individuals on drugs, and shames Jade for assaulting the less fortunate. Jade will then move in with the gangsters, who, it turns out, actually know her aunt and uncle. Unfortunately, Jade's group of gangbangers try to move into the new area of Bel-Air by being stowaways on a cargo ship headed for California. Jade's gangbanger aunt and uncle theorize Bel-Air would be the safest place to hold up, as most of the mansions there have gates and are easier to defend against the infected. But this leads to all of them, except for Jade, to be eaten alive by the infected. This leads her to try and adopt Will Smith's character as her new family upon their meeting. Throughout the film, Will Smith's character sees Jade as a burden, in which case she begs and pleads with him day after day for him to stay with her. Seeing no hope for Bel-Air as the infection gets worse, Will Smith compares it to Philadelphia. Will Smith's character decides to leave, which has Jade begging him to stay. And in a very out-of-character moment for Will Smith, he is shown flaunting his military plane ticket and telling Jade, "This ticket only has authorization for one person and one trip. Sorry, kid, but you're not coming with me." This scene is hinting at Will Smith's reluctancy to be responsible for another little girl, as he fears that he will just be heartbroken again if she dies, much like how he felt when his daughter and wife died in the first movie. This will show a vulnerable and depressed side to Will Smith's character. When Will Smith's character begins packing to leave for a military base in Alaska, Jade will pick his pocket and steal the military plane ticket. Later, Jade packs up a suitcase and decides to follow Smith along his way in secret. A tender moment occurs as we find out that Jade has buried both her aunt and uncle in the backyard of the mansion that her and the gangbangers were staying at. She gives both of the gravestones a kiss and looks at the military ticket that she stole from Will Smith and then proceeds to put on her headphones and kicks it out of there. The movie then shifts to Jade's perspective for the majority of the film as she follows Will Smith's tracks in order to insert herself on the military plane out of California. There are numerous perils on Jade's journey, but also some lighthearted funny moments as this movie is intended for modern audiences. One such case is a hilarious scene where Jade imagines the plane ticket being first class and being served drinks like soda and orange juice out of a champagne glass. She also wonders if that's what the people of Bel-Air used to live like before the infection. There will also be social commentary on classism as, while Jade is following Will Smith's tracks, she flashes back to a time when she visited Bel-Air while on vacation and seeing a guy dressed like a cop and being afraid of him, but it turns out it was just a chauffeur. She laughs to herself as she remembers thinking out loud, "I'm not trying to get arrested yet, I just got here." We then see her in the flashback spring with quickness and get out of there. We then see her remembering a row of taxis nearby and whistling for one. When the cab pulls up, it seems quite rare. The license plate says fresh, and the guy has dice in his mirror. Hesitant at first, Jade in the flashback thinks, "Forget it, I just want to get out of Bel-Air." The flashback then turns into a tender moment between her and the taxi driver, who explains to her that not everything is as it seems to be, and to give some people a chance, as they might be hurting and going through something. This leads the non-flashback Jade to wonder if Will Smith has suffered some sort of deep loss, and that's why he doesn't want her to tag along, fearing the experience of a loss again. Eventually, Jade gets into a fight with the infected and is bitten, but she doesn't begin to turn into one of the vampires. Not thinking much about it, she keeps on her journey. Eventually, she finds Will Smith at the airport, who isn't being allowed onto the plane because he has no ticket, not realizing that Jade stole said ticket. When she confronts him and shows him that she has the ticket, Will Smith is initially angry, but notices the arm she is lifting the ticket with has a bite mark on it, and yet she hasn't changed into one of the mutant vampires. Seeing this, Will Smith turns to the guy who is guarding the military base and says, "Actually, I think I'm gonna stay." This signifies that Will Smith now sees hope and is willing to accept Jade, as she may be the carrier of a cure. Excitedly, Will Smith turns back to Jade and points back toward the direction of Bel-Air, shouting with glee, "Yo home to Bel-Air." The guard of the military base sees his smile and says to Jade and Will Smith, "Not without one of these." We then see a garage door open and a fully armored and machine gun mounted Humvee with military soldiers in it honk their horn, allowing Jade and Will Smith to get in. There's then a montage of the group driving back to the mansion in Bel-Air that Will Smith found Jade at. The world goes from a depressing, saturated color to something lighter and more hopeful. When the Humvee pulls up to the mansion, Will Smith gets out and looks around and says, "This place is gonna make me feel like royalty." With a smile and a laugh to Jade, the group goes inside. Jade then looks to Will Smith with another quip and says, "Welcome to my kingdom, we're finally here." She sits on a big reclining chair in the front room, to which the movie ends on one last quip from Will Smith saying, "Look at that, already sitting on a throne. I guess from here on out I have to call you the Queen of Bel-Air." It then cuts to credits, which have a Polaroid picture montage of Will Smith taking Jade's blood, then working together in a lab and eventually finding a cure, which is represented as a tube of green liquid that Will Smith holds to the camera with a big smile. On the tube is a piece of tape that has the word cure written on it. Well, that was the actual plot synopsis that was leaked to iMDB. I have to say, it's quite a bold move for them to not have Will Smith be the main character of the sequel to one of his most famous movies, but I'm not the writer, and quite frankly, I don't think that this is that bad of a plot. But ultimately, I want to know what you guys think. Leave a comment below, and if you want to hear any more groundbreaking news about leaks or movies in general, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that little bell icon to be informed when I upload. Don't forget to check out my shorts as I do real movie facts, and have a good day.